Hi, everyone, and welcome to Open Class. I'm super excited to have none but Neil back.
Hey there, Daniel.
How are you today?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
Very, very well. And for those of you maybe new to the channel who don't know Neil, he's been a guest actually twice before. And in Talking Insomnia 45, Neil shares his own 20-year struggle with insomnia and how he's doing really well now. And so definitely check that out. And with that said, we had a little conversation the other day, and I was really glad to hear, Neil, you actually said that you were eager to help others and spread the insights you have.
Right. Yeah. Well, for someone that went through this journey, I think, if there's anything you can do to help from your own experience to the world and spread love, there's nothing that will make me happier than doing this.
I'm super glad to hear this. And, I just want to share that this has been a little bit of my experience. This year, 2021, one of my goals was to do more of this, open class with people like yourself, Neil. And everyone I've reached out to have actually been like, of course, I'm happy to help. And I think this creates such a nice community here. So I'm really grateful.
Right. I even say, I want to even add that, the fact that people that went through the journey, but don't really suffer from insomnia right now and still are in the community and want to help others. It's so nice to see because, usually I would think that, someone that has insomnia and doesn't have it anymore doesn't want to hear about it or, wouldn't try to help because, it's none of my business anymore. But from someone, if you really suffered from insomnia, you understand people that suffer from insomnia and you really want to help. So it's my
Absolutely.
pleasure.
And I think you probably heard me say this before, but I think that often happens in like these Facebook groups and Reddit groups is that as soon as somebody sleeps better, they kind of leave. So
Right.
you're left with this group of people who are really struggling. But anyway, before we start looking at, there's 3 questions I picked out from the community here that we'll look at. I remember from one of our earliest conversations when you reached out to me and you were actually saying like, I would like to sort of spread the word here in Israel, maybe do some work in Hebrew or whatnot. Have you
Right.
thought more about that? Writing a book or doing something?
It's so funny that you mentioned it because lately, actually, I have a lot of people reaching me out for some reason. Not only, I mean, some of them were from your channel because they saw the first or the second video that called me. We had Benjamin and we had Bijal back then.
Ricardo.
And so on. And actually, I had some people in Israel that reached friends of mine or family that have sleeping problems, and apparently I don't know, like 15 or 20% out of the population in the world suffer from insomnia. I mean, it comes and goes, but it's common. So reached me out yesterday. I had someone at 22 years old. A guy that called me and said, listen, I don't know what's going wrong with me. I cannot sleep and so on. We started to talk. And we don't, with all the education that I have from your channel and from out of my experience, I really managed, I think, to help him. We had a great talk for like 30, 40 minutes. And at the end of the conversation, he just told me, listen, I really feel better. Now, the idea is I read Set It and Forget It. Now I have to order This Is Neto. And I read Sasha Stevens' book and so on, when I started to get interested in it. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to translate it to Hebrew to help people in my country so they can have an access to this info because the things that I meet, I see so many, I mean, not so many, but I see people that suffer from insomnia and like you say, they're like in Oz. They don't know what to do. They don't know who to talk to. They don't understand what they should do or should not do. And first thing they go to doctors and get sleeping pills, which never helps, as we already know. And this whole circle, it just gets back and it's amazing what you can do with 1 or 2 talks of a few minutes each. That people are struggling for years and looking for solutions when the solution is always here. It's always at home in yourself. And when you try, this is why you said it a lot, and I said it a few times that when you try to find solutions out of your own self, it's impossible because if there is a problem, it's in you, and if you have to solve it in you, you cannot find solutions outside for things that are taking place inside.
Absolutely. And it's really curious to see where this is leading. People are asking you questions. You're becoming a sleep coach, Neil. I know it.
All right, I love it.
You are already a sleep coach. Okay, let's check. So let's share screen here and talk about these three questions. Or three people have sent us questions. So first one is actually from Adele. Short one, but let's read it together here. Adele says, "Hello, sir. My name is Adele. I'm 43. I have bad insomnia after medical illness. I need your help, please. I used to sleep 6 to 7 hours, now barely 1 hour or even less. I want your help." And so it's a short message, but I think we can learn some things from it. And one is, okay, Adele had some type of medical illness, is now sleeping much less than before. I have some immediate thoughts, but I'll let you go first. Like, what are your immediate thoughts when you read something like this?
First of all, what I see is someone's, screaming for help. That's the first thing that I see, because it's short and it's, I don't know the details, because Adele is the name?
Yeah.
Okay. Adele didn't give us all the details, so we don't really know. But from what I see, I don't know if it's a he or she. I guess she. I don't know. I'll just say she. She writes that she used to sleep 6 to 7 hours. Now she sleeps barely 1 hour. And I would, if we could hear a little bit more from the thought process that she's having, to see if it's something that is common, something that we hear all the time, because we have the missing details there. But what I know for sure, because one thing I can say for sure, because insomnia, it's in a way always the same. It's always the same thing. Everybody thinks that their insomnia is unique. We said it a few times, but you people are unique. Your insomnia is not. I'm sorry to tell you, you don't have any physical problem. It's always the same thing, and it's always the same pattern. You didn't sleep for one night because of a real reason. You were excited about something, you were sad about something, whatever reason. You didn't sleep all night, which is totally natural. And then the next night you think about why you didn't sleep, and this is how insomnia develops, the thinking about it. Because if you feel, let's say you have I don't know, you're depressed or you're sad because of something one day, it's very natural that you won't eat all day. You don't have appetite, and it's very normal that you won't sleep. When I go through something, when I'm excited about, it can be good or bad, it doesn't matter. When I'm hyper aroused, and it happens, it's our brain. And sometimes, I wanted to say we cannot control, but sometimes we're trying to control life. And when you're trying to control, this is when you have the dissonance between what is really happening and how you think about what is happening. We said it a few times, and you don't have the acceptance of reality. Then what really happens is with sleep is, if you have one sleepless night and you think about it, okay, and then you had another sleepless night because of you thinking about the fact that you cannot sleep and you're hyper aroused and anxious. And with time you find yourself in bed, cannot sleep, and then your brain makes the connection between wakeness and your bed, and feeling bad and being in bed and so on. And then you go into this loop, all right, this thought process that always comes back. And even though we don't have all the details, I'm sure that if we're gonna ask Adele the same question that we ask each everyone that suffers from insomnia, I always get the same answers. I'm afraid that I won't be able to function tomorrow. I'm afraid that it's gonna harm my health. These are the two big fears. It's not gonna harm your health, because there, as you have your Daniel that had many, look for researchers about it, and there is no connection between someone. Once you said that it's like looking for a connection for lung cancer and having ashtrays in your house, right? I think you said it once. We don't have any proof that I didn't sleep for nights and nothing happened. I'm here, I'm talking, I'm okay. And I guess if you slept for 1 hour a night for several nights, you have enough evidence to know that in a way you can function without sleep, right? So I think that the minute or the moment you will be able to understand that sleep is not that important, or it's more generally that is that you won't take yourself or life too seriously. It's more deeper, but sleep is just a way to say it. But generally, look at the world in a much lighter way. Take yourself lighter, love yourself, and just not be anxious about it. Sleep will come back, because we know who's the chicken and who's the egg here when it comes to sleep. It's not that you don't sleep because you think that you cannot sleep, that you're stressed because you cannot sleep. The fact is that you cannot sleep because you're stressed. You have to deal with the stress. Okay, when you take the stress levels down, you will be able to sleep. It's not the opposite. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's
100%.
my
I
thought.
think, no, this is great. I think you kind of started with a great, you set things up nicely for this episode by kind of like summarizing what insomnia is, and you made so many good points. And I'll just add to that to Adele here, that it is very common to have a medical problem or a scare, like just being scared of a medical problem, and that leads you to have a couple of sleepless nights. But then it becomes the fear of it happening again, the thoughts that drive it, exactly like Neil said. And the second thing is the hours. Like, it's very natural, of course, to compare, like, now I'm only getting 1 hour, 2 hours before I get 6 or 7. It's always very helpful to step away from that and be like, try as much as possible not to monitor and check and track. That sets you off in a really nice direction. So just adding to that, as we move to our next question, which is a little bit longer one with some more information, is from Jake. Jake says, "Hi, Daniel. I have spoken to my family doctor on Friday, and I've been diagnosed with an anxiety disorder known in the UK as GAD, or general anxiety disorder. I'm to go to my hospital for an official consultation and to pick up a prescription of SSRIs, which is, with the most common antidepressants. This is, and they're also used for anxiety a lot. This is what was likely causing me to feel anxiety about sleep, despite sleeping well. Will these affect my sleep? I'm still sleeping well, but the persistent sleep anxiety is still very present and is starting to become unmanageable. Thanks again." Okay, so to summarize this, we have Jake, who's actually been sleeping well, but is still anxious about sleep, and is also wondering, if I take medications that are for general anxiety, will they have a negative impact on my sleep? And then the end. So I can start like sharing some thoughts here and then kick it over to you, Neil. My thought here is that, it is actually not uncommon at all to be in this place where you're sleeping okay, but the thoughts are still there. You're still worrying, what if it comes back again? What if I don't sleep again? That's not unusual at all. There's nothing strange about that. And I want to say, actually, more broadly speaking here, that all these things that cause us so much discomfort, anxiety, depression, PTSD, insomnia, chronic pain, what have you, they truly come from the same roots. Like, they come from the same place. They come from a place where there is this thing you don't want to experience. You don't want to have it. And the more you move away, the more you try to escape it, so to speak, the more stickier it becomes. What's a good analogy here? We can say that, let's put it this way: the brain is like the safety machine. It always wants to keep you safe. And when there is a real threat, like you're about to be run over by a truck, it is, of course, you want to escape from that. And when you escape, you feel safe. You've taught the brain something good. But when the fear becomes, I don't want to experience anxiety, the emotion, this uncomfortable emotion is the threat. That's the thing I want to get away from. Then you're trying to get away from something that isn't real, that is just a thought. And the more you try to get away from that, the more it affects you. So that's why I think often people ask me, what should I do if I'm depressed and it's all the same. Like, the path towards freedom is all the same. And so, so that was just a general thought. And then I want to say, when it comes to medications, that it is the same as so many other things. Like, taking a medication itself may have a little bit of a direct impact on your sleep. Maybe you'll sleep 10 minutes more or 10 minutes less just because of some chemical in your brain, but that doesn't matter. It's the thoughts about, if somebody takes a medication and thinks, oh my gosh, this is going to destroy my sleep, then it's a problem. It's the thought that matters, not the other things, not the chemicals, nothing else. So those are my first general thoughts here. But Neil, what are your thoughts when you read this?
Actually, you took out my words, so the words out of my mouth. But yeah, in general, I would just try to summarize maybe what you said. There is always, it's always the same thing. We always hear about people that are talking about something that are, it's not the thing, it's your thinking about the thing. It's the fear that because let's try to understand. The thing is here, people are getting, Jack, what's his name?
And this was Jake.
Jake, sorry. We get emotional, okay, about things because emotions are coming from thoughts, right? We have thoughts and we have emotions. Now, the thing is that, it's always the thinking process. It's what we think about it much more than what it is, because let's go a little bit philosophic, okay, a little bit philosophic. There is no such a thing as this. We can take, let's try to think about it. We can take two people, put them exactly at the same place, same weather, same time, same place, looking at the same wall or seeing the same thing. One of them will be the happiest person in the world, and the other one is going to be depressed, right? They're in the same situation, same temperature, same time. Everything is the same. They're in the same whatever country, the same place. One of them is. So it's always what we're thinking about it, or how we, how we reflect the situation in our own mind, because our mind is always either in the past or in the future, instead of really always living life. And life is senses brings you back to the present. And I don't know if it's to add, because I think you said it all, but again, every time when I hear about something, someone that takes pills, now we already know that no pill can make you sleep. Maybe it can reduce your anxiety, which will help you to sleep, right? But I think that much more than what the pill is physically doing, the fact that you trust your doctor, you trust this pill, right, reduces your anxiety much more than the pill itself. And it just proves us that the thinking about the medication, or thinking about, it's like, you know what, I have another, let's say, if you want to cure yourself, if you can put yourself in a place where you face reality as it is, and you understand that if you sleep less, nothing wrong will happen to you. When you're going to really truly believe in it, you don't need any pill, because the same thought that you have about the pill, you can have about sleepness, or about sleeping. If you understand that nothing wrong will happen if you won't sleep, you will sleep better, because as we said, you take the anxiety down, you take the stress down, and then it's much easier. You fall asleep when sleep comes to you. Nobody can force himself make a sleep. And I think that's it. So
I think it was fantastic. I want actually to add two things. One was when you said about these two people looking at the same thing. One is feeling super happy, one is feeling depressed. I was reflecting upon this the other day, and I thought, I often have this kind of knot in my stomach. I feel like tense. I'm thinking about things, I'm pondering. And I thought, if another person could just feel what I'm feeling, they would be like, oh my gosh, Daniel, you're always anxious. But the difference is that I don't think that it's not normal to have these feelings, and therefore I'm quote unquote not anxious. But again, it's how you think about it rather than what's actually happening that matters. And the second thing was, to Jake here, sleep anxiety is like basically sleep anxiety is like this resistance. You don't want to have it again. You don't want to go through insomnia again. And the more you try to keep yourself safe from ever having insomnia again, the more you're going to have that fear. So as strange as it sounds, when you go to a place where like, okay, I may have struggled with sleep again, I may have sleepless nights again, and I'll be fine. When you're willing to have that again, if you will, then the sleep anxiety is going to dissipate. That's when it goes away.
One more thing that I wanted to say is, if we take it one step forward, think about, let's take two feelings. Let's take love and let's take anger. Let's say you are angry at someone, right? He doesn't suffer from it. You suffer because there are no feelings, there are no emotions out of ourselves. It's in us. So you can think about it. You cannot, it doesn't matter if you're angry at someone. You're never angry at someone. You're being in a state of anger. If when someone says, I love someone, you don't love someone, you're being in a state of love. When you love yourself, when you're being in a state of love, you love everyone. I never seen anyone that loves himself, that doesn't love anyone, that doesn't love others, because you are in love, in a state of love. If you're angry, you're in a state of anger. You will be angry at anyone. If you're stressed, it's not something that made you be stressed. It's the way you look at it, the way you think about a certain thing, and you translate it in your mind as something that, because of your past, because of whatever, you translate it as something that is stressful, and therefore you being stressed. It's not that thing, because some other person can look at the same thing and be, not stressed about it, right?
Yes.
So if we can teach ourselves, take a break, I do it in mindfulness, but take a break from our thoughts and from the way we were trained to automatically think about things. If we say sleep, we were trained, to read articles that tells us that if you want sleep, it's always what you think. You always, when you cannot sleep at night, you think about the last article that you read for someone that has some kind of interest. Usually it's money, right? And you thinking about what you read, or you thinking about what you think about it, makes you feel stressed. When if you face reality, okay, reality is nothing wrong will happen. If you didn't sleep tonight, you will sleep next night or the one after. And when you're gonna stop, one thing I promise, every time I talk to someone that suffers from insomnia, I tell him, I want to ask you something. If right now I'll give you a pill, let's say there is such a thing, that you'll keep your memory, but you're gonna forget only one thing. You will forget that you ever had trouble sleeping. It's the only thing you'll forget. Will you still suffer from insomnia? And the answer is always no. Why is it no? Because it's a thought process. It's not physical, right? How do we get to this point? I think we talked a lot of times, how do we get to the point where we engage in other things and we're not thinking about it? But as you said, trying not to think about it, this process is thinking about it. Trying to avoid thoughts, actually, invite the thoughts into our mind again, okay? So how do we do it? We replace the thoughts, okay, by having fun during the day, doing other things that keep our mind away from sleep, distract our mind from sleep. And then, as long, if you take a lot of time spending in thoughts that are other from sleep, because you can have only one thought in your mind at the time, you don't think about sleep, and then it just takes time. Then you're automatic. Then one night, you just go to sleep or whatever. You go to bed, or you feel sleepy all of a sudden. You're not hyper aroused, and all of a sudden you say, "Oh, I want to sleep." And it sounds weird. After like you couldn't sleep. It happened to a lot of people. And then you just go to sleep, you fall asleep, and then you said, I had one night of sleep. I don't have time to deal with sleep today. I have a lot of things to do at work and whatever. And you just keep going by your day. And then the day after, you sleep again. And then all of a sudden, just a second, don't I have physical problem with sleeping? Doesn't my brain is not the same like everyone else, And it just proves you that it's all the thought process, the thinking about it, and not the thing itself.
Yeah, 100%. And I know we're getting a tangent here, but I think it's really useful, valuable things. And which when you said that it's not like you love somebody else in a way. It's kind of you're in a state of love, and when you are in a state of love and you love yourself, then you love everyone. And it's
exactly.
and that's kind of like one thing I thought about a lot. From that becomes that there is really actually no difference between like altruism and selfishness. If you're selfish in a good way, meaning like when you do something for yourself that is nice,
there is no
do
altruism
for everyone else.
There is no altruism. It doesn't exist. Because for you to be altruist, let's say, as an ideal, you have to be very selfish. I mean, selfish is not the word. I would say you have to be very, I don't have the word in English, but if you really think about this, let's talk about this. If you really think about how to make yourself feel, or not think, if you don't think, forget think. If you do things that make you feel good, you're thinking about yourself, you're doing whatever makes you feel good. Let's say all the people in the world will do not what makes others feel good, right? We don't want to satisfy others, because then you don't do anything for yourself. Do everything for yourself. It's not being selfish, because if you're happy, everyone around you will be happy. And if everyone will do what makes them feel happy, the world will be a happy place. Like, you understand what I'm? If you try to satisfy others, you just give up on yourself. And if you give up on yourself, you're not going to be a happy person, which people around you won't be happy, and it makes the world miserable. If we're talking in a level of, if you want to make everybody happy, make yourself happy.
Yeah.
Think about how you make yourself happy. And even, sometimes I have a daughter, and sometimes, it's very tempting to do what she wants, but I never say no. I will do what make me feel happy, and she'll learn how to make herself happy, and then we'll have a happy world all together, right? Because she's doing what she's doing good for her, and we choose to have our time together and enjoy from us being whole and not from us being, as like with love, when you look for a spouse, everybody goes on dates and they look for the other half. Who wants a half? I want the whole. If I know how to play the guitar, I want to play the guitar the best I can. So I won't need anyone, any spouse that will help me. I can play the guitar my whole life. If she knows how to play the piano, she knows how to play. She doesn't need me. And when you don't need each other, it's the love. It's much easier to find the places together because it's not from a needy place. I have myself. She has herself, and then we love spending time together and playing piano and guitar together. So kind of, maybe I went too far, but
oh no, it's great. We drifted off a little bit, but I think all this is so true. And I'll just say that you echo what you said. Is like we always hear like, don't make it about yourself, but actually we should sort of make it about yourself, and that when you take care of yourself, you take care of everyone in the world. So 100%.
Sleep is like a micro, for everything. It's like you can talk about with time. At the beginning, I thought that sleep is the whole issue, and then with time, I understand that sleep, has a lot of how you say it in English, like
branches, or
a lot of branches, exactly, to so many things, and it's all connected, and
it's all like what you learn about yourself when you go through the journey of insomnia is remarkable. It applies to everything.
Insomnia is a present. Really.
It can be, for sure. I know a lot of people are going to be like, what? But it can totally be that. Okay, let's see. Last one here is from Ellie. She says, hi, Daniel. I've been getting poor sleep lately, and I kind of don't understand why, but maybe it seems obvious. So what I do every night is I try to do something I enjoy, but I end up being way too sleepy to befriend wakefulness. I guess subconsciously, I fall asleep thinking I'm going to have a good night of sleep. I'm so sleepy, so this might actually work. And I wake up anticipating that I had a good night, only to find that I got light, unrefreshing sleep. Kind of strange, since I was sleepy, right? What could be the solution to this? And the second question, for the past 2 years of my insomnia, I've done this thing where I observe the results from the night by seeing how refreshed I look. And I'd like to know what's the best way to let go of this habit. One, on good days, seeing my results boosts my confidence immensely to see that I've done well. But on bad nights, it practically makes me depressed and feel like I failed, which now I understand you can't fail at something you can't control. But I guess it's more like a failure of not practicing your teachings correctly. What do you think? Thanks as always. So we have the first question. Okay, so to summarize this, we have sort of the first question was, I kind of like in the evening, I do things I enjoy. I become super sleepy, and then I'm like, I'm going to sleep really great, but then I have superficial sleep. What's going on with that? And the second one is the kind of like the goal-oriented thing of like seeing how well did I do this? How refreshed am I? So those are two questions. But yeah, Neil, what are your first thoughts when you hear this?
Okay, first, in the two questions, there's something that repeats that I hear is dealing with sleep a lot. Okay, thinking about it during the day, thinking about how refreshed I feel by monitoring how was my night and how many hours I slept. If it's trying to see how refreshed I am. I did it myself, so I know exactly what she means. And I think that the solution, the thing is, the insomnia is always the same. Therefore, the solution is always the same. And again, we said it many times before. We're gonna repeat it again. Or I'll repeat it again. That the solution is always not trying to find the solution, but let it go, back up a little bit. It sounds. I from just hearing the text. Let's say you would tell me, listen, I want you to listen to this text, but don't listen to the words. Just listen to the music, right? The music, because when I heard the music, it's like I heard the patterns that she goes, and the patterns that she goes create more insomnia, because insomnia craves of attention. And Ellie is her name?
Ellie, yep.
Yeah. Ellie gives a lot of attention to her insomnia, a lot of attention. And this is what insomnia is all about. This is the core of insomnia. Core of insomnia is attention. It's not only craves on attention, but it's created by attention. When you attach to your insomnia will never leave you. So when you monitor, we can talk about what you should do, but let's talk about the problem first. When you monitor your days, how refreshed you feel, if you feel tired during the day, if the second question was for the first one was about, remind me.
Yeah, the first one was like, yeah, I do things I enjoy in the evening. I feel really sleepy, so I think I will sleep well, but then I don't.
Exactly. So I feel, first of all, if you feel sleepy, it's great. You feel sleepy. Let me try to explain why you feel sleepy. You feel sleepy because in this 1 or 2 hours before you go to sleep, you don't think about sleep. You do other things. You say you enjoy your evening, which means, listen, you cannot sit on your couch and think about the fact that you cannot sleep and enjoy it, because it's not enjoyable. So I guess that you're doing other things, right? In this 1, 2, 3 hours. And whatever you do before, what makes you feel sleepy, this is what happens in your evenings. What makes you feel sleepy is the fact that you do other things than thinking about sleep, as you do most of the day, as you say. Now, then you feel sleepy, and then when you feel sleepy and you want to go to sleep, right? You want to go to sleep, you start thinking about sleep again, and then you sleep light or whatever, and then the day after you think about why you slept light. If you can take these 2 hours before you go to sleep and understand, before you do anything, understand why you feel sleepy there, because people suffer from insomnia, they don't feel sleepy, they're hyper arousal because they think about the fact that maybe I won't sleep tonight and what's going to happen and so on and so on, and how I'm going to function tomorrow. When you don't put sleep as the center of your thoughts, but you just do things that makes you feel good, sleep, it's like you wrote something on the Set It and Forget It, like dating, right? When you like sleep once you so, if you want sleep so much, you'll never catch it, right? When you're gonna tell, you know what, I give up, I just go do other things because I'm not gonna sleep anyways, then sleep is gonna go like, tuk, tuk, where are you, what's going on with you, why don't you call me, right? Write me back, text me back, I just send you a message, and then it comes on you because we said sleep is a paradox, it's a paradox. When you're trying to find a solution, it will go away from you, and as long as you can, as much as you can learn to get away from sleep related thoughts, sleep will happen because your level of stress will go down. And this is why you feel sleepy before, because you don't think about sleep. I know that. I don't even have to ask. It's obvious.
Absolutely. And I think I want to say, like, there was a couple of things, Ellie, that I know that you follow the channel. I know Ellie has done a lot of helpful learning, which is, particularly in the last part of this, Ellie said, I realized that what I'm doing is probably not helpful. She's realizing that waking up and being kind of like, oh, I feel refreshed. Yes, I slept good. I'm going to do this. I got this. And then other times I don't feel refreshed. What's wrong with me? It's similar to what I call like win-lose thinking. When you slept, you feel like I won, I did it. And when you didn't sleep, you're like, dang it, I failed. But in reality, it's kind of the complete opposite. When you sleep well, it's because you were not doing anything. And when you sleep little, it's because you were trying. So Ellie sees that leaving this kind of performance goal-oriented win-lose thinking is helpful, but is wondering like, how do I do that? And here's the thing, and this is maybe the most important here, is like, you cannot willfully stop yourself. You cannot be like, I'm going to stop thinking like this. I'm going to stop myself from thinking like this, because then you think more about it. So I think, and this is the tricky part, because Ellie, you're looking for something to do, but there's nothing to do. So just deploying awareness is all. Like, you just knowing that, if I continue to checking how refreshed I am every morning, then I'm going to struggle more. If I don't do that, then I'm going to do better. And that's just awareness. And then if you just are aware, like when you wake up in the morning and like you catch yourself being like, I'm going to check how refreshed I am. And then you go like, I'm doing that thing again.
Right.
Then it's not like you have to stop yourself. It's just like, just by being aware of that, you naturally do less of it. I think that is really important.
The art of nothing.
Yes.
Yeah. When you celebrate a good night of sleep, it's the same thing when you're disappointing. You both in both ways you have sleep related thoughts. you're making the importance of the sleep high. You know, you put it in high. I had a good night of sleep. So what? It doesn't mean anything. I had a bad night of sleep. Same thing. Okay. You had a bad night, you'll be tired. That's it. Okay. Can we go to the next thing you have to do today?
Yeah.
Right? Because it's a waste of time to have these thoughts. You know, if you're thinking if you thought it the first time and it didn't help you, why why we said about Einstein doing the same thing? Why would you have the same thought again and again? You see, it doesn't help you, right? If we knew that sleep had a solution, that you can do this 1 2 3 4 and then you sleep, right?
There wouldn't be anything. There wouldn't be,
You know what? This is the list. Do number 1 2 3 4. Now I'm telling you, take the list, put it in the garbage, and forget it. Go do other things.
Exactly.
You know?
I would actually like, as we finish up here, like one of the most powerful things I heard you say, Neil, was when you said, you're in this kind of battle and struggle. And when you go, okay, fine, insomnia, you won, do whatever you want. That's when magic happens.
Yeah.
Perfect. So yeah, I want to say thank you for everyone that's sent messages. Hope this was really helpful, and stay in touch and let us know how you do. And to you, Neil, thank you so much for coming on.
Sure. Thank you, Daniel.
Stay in touch.